afternoon to you all, to our thought for the day. Before I say anything else, I should point out that I'm in a different location. Obviously, the rules have slightly changed since Boris's announcement a short time ago, about 36 hours ago, and life is very different for all of us, and it seems to be changing almost on a daily basis. Before I say anything else, though, with today's thought, I want to just give a really, really massive thank you to all of you who have written lovely words of thanks and lovely comments. My wife Andrea has done a thought, and I've done some as well, and we've really both appreciated the very kind words. It makes us feel connected to you as our church family, and then of course wider community people as well who've written things. We want to just give you a really big thank you for that. So 36 hours ago, give or take a few minutes, Boris told us that life was going to be much more strictly controlled with many more severe limitations and restrictions. And things are very different. And like me and my family, your world is probably shrinking by the minute. Before, just a few weeks ago, we were planning on having a few days away in Prague, and now that's completely off the table. And now for me, it feels like a holiday to go outside or to go for a long walk. And actually in all of this, our world is shrinking rapidly around us, isn't it? Now I hear of couples arguing as to who gets to do the shop at Tesco's. Who would have thought that would ever happen? I do wonder, however, if in all of this, as bad as it is and as worrying as the future is, certainly in the next few weeks, I wonder if in this time we might sort of reevaluate what's important to each one of us. For many of us, we spend so much time and energy and money on things that perhaps aren't as important as we might now think. Actually, we may learn to appreciate face-to-face conversations, human kindness, community, family, little things like going for a walk, and that's good. But more than anything else, in this time, we need to think about how we get through the next few weeks. I'd like to read to you a verse from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 1, verse 35, which tells us something Jesus did on a daily basis. Mark chapter 1, verse 35 says, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed." Jesus' life was very dynamic. He healed the sick, he raised the dead, he stood against injustice, he stood up for the poor and the downtrodden. He did all sorts of wonderful things. His life was also full of trauma and pain. He would give his life at 33 years old, nailed to a Roman cross. He would be under so much pressure that in the Garden of Gethsemane he would sweat blood. He knows the pain we're going through, and he will know the tragedies that we face as well and that we're not going through. But whenever I think of Jesus' life and how he lived it and the things he went through, I wonder what was his source of energy, source of refreshment on a daily basis. And surely it was in that verse I've just read from Mark chapter 1, verse 35. That every single day Jesus got up very early while it was still dark, went off somewhere solitary and prayed. He didn't just hands together and eyes closed like I did in primary school. This was a deep, rich, communing conversation, relationship with his Father in heaven. And that intimacy with God the Father was what drove Jesus and what kept him in those harshest and hardest of moments. And really my thought this afternoon is quite straightforward. We're all adapting to a new lifestyle. We're all adapting to a narrowing world, and we're all adapting new habits and routines. And let me just tell you that if we're going to survive the next few weeks and months and however long we have to do this, if we make it a priority to commune and relate with God the Father in heaven, it will be a much better experience for all of us. And so if you know Jesus Christ is your Lord and Saviour today, then you need to make it a regular priority. You may not be able to go off somewhere private, but you can go outside in your gardens if you have them, or lock the bathroom door, or get up before everyone else and just sit in the Father's presence and let him bless you and speak to you. And if you don't know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Saviour, there is a God of all the universe who wants to be with you during the time ahead. And so God bless you all. We're praying for our town, we're praying for our church, and we're here for any who need us. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. God bless.